Hey, what's good, gang? My name's Jewel, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a booper in Resonite. Now, for this, what you're going to need to do is get a dev tool and a scene inspector. If you don't know how to do that yet, I suggest you watch my other guide to know how to use a scene inspector in Resonite. We're going to start with getting out our dev tool, and from here, we want to make a collider. To do this, you're going to open up your context menu with the dev tool in your hand, click Create New, Collider, Box. Now that I've got my box selected and moved into a better position, first thing I'm going to do is start to make it smaller. To do this with a box collider, you can go to the size field on its component. For this demonstration, I'm going to change it to be a tenth of its normal scale, so 0.1 on all sides. Now I can move it back to my workspace, much more manageable. For now, I'm going to deselect the box because all the work we want to do is going to be in this panel. Now to make a booper, the first thing we want to do is attach a button component. At the bottom of the inspector is the attach component button. You click on this and it'll bring out the components list. Now the component that we want, touch button, is going to be under transform, drivers, interaction, and it's labeled touch button. And since this list is alphabetical, we can just go to T. Then you're going to double click touch button to add the component to the slot. You'll see it flash green, and that means it's been added. There we go, touch button component. The next component we want actually has the audio clips and does the playing of the audio. It's called button audio clip player, and you can find it in the component list by going to common UI, button interactions, media, button audio clip player. So real quickly, I'm gonna go over exactly what each component does. First off, touch button is just a button. As you can see, whenever I hover over the collider, the is hovering state becomes true. And if I press the button, is pressed becomes true. When you have touch button and button audio clip player on the same slot, the button will automatically work with the audio player, so you don't need to link them up or anything. Next up is button audio clip player, and this is the thing that randomly plays audio clips. Now what we want to do is we want to get our audio. For audio, the best file formats are going to be .ogg, .flac, and .wav. When you bring in one of these file types into Resonite, they automatically get an audio player. For this demonstration, I'm going to be dragging a .ogg from my desktop into the Resonite window. So what I'm doing now is going to my desktop, grabbing my file, and just dragging it into the Resonite window. And here it is. Now that we've got the audio, we want to get the actual audio asset from this file. We're going to select the audio player, open our context menu, click Open Inspector, and that should take you to some element of the audio player's UI. From here, you can use this button to go up into the hierarchy until you get to the actual file that has the canvas, audio output, asset, and other slots. From here, we want to select asset, and that static audio clip component right there is our sound file. What I'm going to do now is go back to the button audio clip player component, go under pressed clips, and click add. This will add a data entry where we can put our sound file. Now I'm just going to take this static audio clip component, grab it, and drop it into that clip field. Now when I click the collider, you'll hear an audio clip play.
But it ain't stealing. Can I get a break?
By default, the touch button component accepts both physical touch and remote touch. Physical touch is physically using your finger to push into the collider and push the button, while remote touch is using your laser to do it. Now that we've got audio into our audio clip player, let's go over a few of the settings that are under the component. First off, we've got min distance, max distance, and roll off mode. This changes how distance affects your audio. For boopers, it's considered good etiquette to have a booper that falls off after a certain distance. Next up, we've got the clip field. That's where you place your audio clip. After that is weight. This affects how likely it is that this clip will be played when you have multiple clips in the audio player. Min volume and max volume both affect how loud that the audio can play at random. Min speed and max speed, they do the same thing. Randomize the speed of the clip each time it's played. At the bottom, we've got min distance, max distance, and roll off mode again. That's so that you can make it so that each sound has a different maximum distance. To change a field's value, just click it with your laser, and if you're in VR, a keyboard will show up. For this demonstration, I'm going to set min volume to 0.2 and max volume to 0.8. Now it'll pick a volume at random between 20% and 80%.
But it ain't stealing. Can I get a break?
Now that we have a collider with a button that plays audio, we've effectively made the booper. Now we just have to parent it to our avatar. For this part, I suggest spawning out a copy of your avatar. Now what we're going to do is use our dev tool to select the bird, open inspector, and you want to find your avatar's head slot. If you go to the root of the avatar, you can find a centered root slot. Go to that and just keep going until you find your rig. Under your rig, you're going to want to find your hips, then your spine, chest, neck, and then finally your head. Double click your head to select it, and then press the set root button in order to focus on that slot in hierarchy. Now I'm going to select my collider, open it up in an inspector, going to take the box, grab it, and move it over to the head. Now, this box is parented to my avatar's head. I'm going to double click to select the box, and then reset its position and its rotation. Now that we've parented the collider to the avatar, we can start using gizmos while it's selected to position the collider where we want it to be. For a booper, you most often want to put it on the nose, and you want to make it kind of small. If you want to more precisely change its size, you can use the inspector to change its scale. Now that it's the right size, I'm going to get it in the right position, and there we go. Everywhere you see this outline is where the collider is, and that means if someone touches it with their finger,
But it ain't stealing. Can I get a break?
it boops and it plays a sound. If at any point you want to add new sounds, you can do so by just going to the button audio clip player component and clicking add, and it'll make new entries. For the sake of organization, I'm going to go ahead and change the collider's name to Booper. This will make it easier to find in the list if I ever want to make changes later. Now, something else you'll want to do is you'll want to change the parent underfield for the Booper. This is because when it plays the audio, if it doesn't have a parent, then the audio is just going to stay where it started playing, which means it won't follow your head as you move around while it's playing. To do that, you're just going to grab this head slot and then move it under the parent underfield. Now, whenever it plays audio, if you move around while it's playing, it'll follow you. This is also a good time to look at setting a minimum and a maximum distance. To do this, you just toggle these on, and depending on what numbers you set, that'll change how far people can hear the Booper. If you want an easy way of knowing how far it's going to be when you set this maximum distance, what you can do is just select your head, hit the Create Child button, and then set its Z position to the value that you want to set to your max distance. And as you can see on my avatar, which is default 0.4 scale, this is what 10 units looks like. This is how far people can hear my Booper. This number will be relative to your avatar's scale, so if you're really big, use smaller numbers. If you're really small, use bigger numbers. I'm just going to set the limit to 20 and the minimum to 2. I'm also going to set the roll-off mode to logarithmic fade off. That way, once someone's too far away, they won't hear it anymore. And now it gets quieter the further away it is.
Can I get a break?
Anyway, that should be everything you need to know to make a Booper in Resonite that plays audio. While this one just plays audio, you can make Boopers do just about anything, because realistically, all it is just a collider with a button. If this guide helped you out, I'd really appreciate a like. If someone you know is trying to make a Booper in Resonite and needs some help, send them this guide, and have a wonderful day.